I've just realized how the Marvel Cinematic Universe would have tied Kang the Conqueror to the Fantastic Four, which also explains why Doctor Doom was his villain replacement. Although upcoming Marvel movies are not expected to feature Kang the Conqueror too much, he had a big role to play in previous installments of the multiverse saga. Loki, for instance, established a variant of Kang the Conqueror known as He Who Remains. Ant-Man and the Wasp. Quantumania then saw a more malevolent variant of the villain trying to escape the quantum realm. Despite Kang's prior importance, the story of Avengers, Doomsday has marked a different path for the MCU going forward. Kang may not be as important in the future, but I have figured out why his replacement, Robert Downey Jr.'s Doctor Doom, was the only choice for Marvel Studios to make. This connection involves the Fantastic Four, as each member has ties to both Kang and Doom, which clarifies why Marvel has adjusted Phase 6 of the MCU in this manner. Kang was the original villain of Avengers 5 before it went from the Kang Dynasty to Doomsday. The MCU's old plan explained. Firstly, it's important to examine the complex nuances of Marvel Studios' initial plan to feature Kang the Conqueror as the villain in Avengers 5. After the culmination of the Infinity Saga with Avengers Endgame, or technically Spider-Man Far From Home, the MCU moved into the multiverse saga. This installment focused on, well, the multiverse. Loki Season 1 was one of the first installments in the multiverse saga, which set up He Who Remains, the aforementioned variant of Kang the Conqueror. He Who Remains explains that his variants are less benevolent than he, and that, if the MCU multiverse expands beyond the sacred timeline that he kept control over, these variants would start a multiversal war. Ant-Man and the Wasp. Quantumania doubled down on this after Loki Season 1 ended with He Who Remains expanding. The former included a more typical comic book version of Kang the Conqueror, who was confined to the quantum realm and sought an escape so he could, aptly, conquer the multiverse. All of this was set to culminate in Avengers 5, initially titled Avengers: The Kang Dynasty. Set to be directed by Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings filmmaker Destin Daniel Cretton, Avengers: The Kang Dynasty would have featured the Avengers facing off against the evil variants of Kang shown in Ant-Man and the Wasp, Quantumania's post-credit scene. However, the plans all changed in light of Jonathan Majors' assault charges. Majors had portrayed all major variants of Kang in the MCU up to that point, and was expected to do so again in Avengers: The Kang Dynasty. After his legal case, though, Marvel pivoted away from the Kang storyline, despite all the setup, in favor of Avengers: Doomsday. Avengers: Doomsday will now see the titular team facing off against Doctor Doom. Doom and Kang would likely have been connected in the MCU anyway, given their comic book links and how the sequel to the Kang Dynasty was Avengers: Secret Wars, a Doom-centric story from the source material. However, Doctor Doom now officially takes Kang's place. Kang's connections to the Fantastic Four demonstrate how easily the MCU could have tied their debut to Avengers 5. Kang would have enabled an important MCU role for Marvel's first family. Now that Kang's initial MCU role has been established, it is worth exploring how this would have enabled the Fantastic Four to have a big role in the MCU's multiverse saga. Since 2019, a Fantastic Four movie has been in development, culminating in the narrative of the Fantastic Four: First Steps. Given that the film started development before the multiverse saga even began, it was clear that the MCU's Fantastic Four would tie into the multiversal elements of Phases 4, 5, and 6, based on the connections to Kang from Marvel Comics throughout the MCU. This makes sense. These connections would have allowed the Fantastic Four to become embroiled in the war against Kang in what would have been Avengers: The Kang Dynasty. In the comics, Kang the Conqueror is Nathaniel Richards, a descendant of Reed Richards' father from the 31st century. Naturally, this would have allowed the Fantastic Four to become embroiled in the war against Kang in what would have been Avengers: The Kang Dynasty, potentially even with the team playing a bigger role in Phase 6 than the Avengers themselves. Additional MCU context could then have bolstered this familial connection. The Fantastic Four will flee their universe in First Steps, as proven by the Thunderbolts post-credit scene. It could have been explained that they did so as a variant of Kong tried to conquer their universe, potentially tying to Galactus's involvement. With this context in mind, specifically the direct familial connection between Kang and Reed Richards, it makes sense why Marvel chose Doctor Doom as Avengers 5 Feet's replacement villain. As many who are familiar with the Fantastic Four will be aware, Reed Richards and Victor Von Doom have a long-standing rivalry. Doom is one of the group's main antagonists as a result. Evidently, the Fantastic Four were going to be an important part of the multiverse saga anyway. Therefore, it makes perfect sense to have Doom be Kang's replacement in Avengers: Doomsday. This way, the connection between the Avengers' main villain and the Fantastic Four will still be prevalent, allowing the Marvel Cinematic Universe to tie together between the notes. Teddi Mellencamp's heartfelt revelation in the glittering world of Hollywood and reality television. Where every moment is under the microscope, Teddi Mellencamp stood amidst the chaos, her heart heavy with unspoken truths. Known for her candor, her resilience, and her unwavering honesty, Teddi had always navigated the tumultuous waters of fame and personal life with a rare grace. But even she, in moments of vulnerability, knew that some stories were too delicate to share until the time was right. It was a quiet autumn evening when she finally decided to open up. Sitting in her sunlit living room, surrounded by family photographs and mementos of a life well lived, Teddi took a deep breath. She had recently gone through a significant chapter, walking away from a relationship she believed might be the one. The reason? Well, it was one she had kept guarded, but now felt compelled to reveal. The first spark, Teddi's relationship with her new boyfriend Mark, had begun with the kind of promise that lights up a person's soul. They met at a mutual friends gathering, a casual get-together that turned into a whirlwind of late-night conversations, shared laughter, and a sense of ease she hadn't felt in a long time. Mark was charming, kind, attentive, everything Teddi had been longing for. For weeks they explored the city, exchanged stories, and built a connection that felt genuine. Teddi, who had always been open about her past struggles and her desire for authenticity, found herself falling into the comfort of this new love. But beneath the surface, subtle signs began to emerge, small, almost imperceptible cracks that hinted at something deeper. The hidden notes one evening, as they sat on her porch watching the sunset. Mark hesitated before speaking. "Teddi," he said softly, "there's something I need to tell you. It's been on my mind for a while." Her heart fluttered, a mixture of anticipation and unease. "Go on,"
Mark took a
she
deep
prompted
breath.
gently. "I have a past, things I haven't shared with anyone. I've made mistakes, some that I'm still working through. But I want you to know that I'm committed to being honest with you." Teddi nodded, appreciating his honesty, yet feeling a strange tug of apprehension. Was this the beginning of transparency, or a warning sign? She believed in the power of truth, but also understood that some truths could be complex. The revelation a few days later, Mark sat her down with a serious expression. "Teddi, I need to tell you something about my past that might change how you see me." Her pulse quickened. She braced herself for whatever was coming. "I've been through some tough times," he began. "I was involved in a situation that I regret deeply. I made choices that hurt people, and I've spent years trying to make amends. But one thing I want you to understand is that I'm committed to being better." Teddi listened, her mind racing. She appreciated his honesty, yet a part of her felt an unshakable weight. Could she truly accept this part of his history? Could she move forward with someone carrying such baggage? The shadow of the past as the days went on, Mark's past became a topic of quiet reflection for Teddi. She found herself pondering the nature of forgiveness, redemption, and love. Was it fair to judge someone solely on their past? Or did her own boundaries and experiences shape her limits? In her heart, she knew that love was about acceptance, accepting people with their flaws, scars, and histories. But she also understood that some wounds are too fresh, some shadows too dark, to ignore entirely. The moment of clarity one evening, Teddi sat alone in her favorite chair, journal in hand, contemplating her feelings. She realized that her decision to end things was rooted not in a lack of love, but in a profound need for self-preservation and honesty with herself. The nights she spent questioning whether she was enough, whether she deserved someone who could accept her fully, and she acknowledged that she deserved truth, no matter how painful or difficult. In that quiet moment, she made a vow to herself to honor her feelings, to listen to her intuition, and to prioritize her well-being over societal expectations or the desire to be loved at any cost. The heart's decision the next day, with a heavy but resolute heart, Teddi sat down with Mark. She explained her feelings with gentle honesty, emphasizing her respect for his journey but also her need to step back. "It's not about you," she said softly. "It's about where I am in my life and what I need to feel safe and true to myself." Mark listened, understanding the depth of her sincerity. Though disappointed, he appreciated her honesty and the courage it took to make such a difficult choice. The revelation in public. Teddi chose to share her story publicly, not as a tale of failure, but as a testament to her growth. In a heartfelt Instagram post, she wrote about the importance of authenticity, self-awareness, and the courage it takes to walk away from something that isn't right. She reflected on her journey, acknowledging that love is complex, and that sometimes the greatest act of love is knowing when to let go. Her words resonated with many, reminding her followers that vulnerability is strength and that honoring oneself is the truest form of love. The power of self-discovery in the aftermath. Teddi focused on her personal growth. She immersed herself in her family, her passions, and her ongoing commitment to her mental and emotional health. Her experience became a catalyst for deeper self-awareness. She learned that love isn't about fixing someone or hoping they'll change. It's about mutual respect, honesty, and alignment of values. And sometimes, the most loving act is to walk away, giving both parties the space to heal and grow separately. The path forward today. Teddi stands stronger and wiser, embracing her journey with an open heart. She knows that love, in its truest form, is about understanding oneself first, and that sometimes, the most important relationship she can nurture is the one she has with herself. Her story is a reminder to all that honesty is the foundation of genuine connection, and that true strength lies in listening to one's inner voice, even when it leads to difficult decisions. Teddi Mellencamp's revelation isn't just about ending a relationship, it's about embracing her truth and walking boldly into the future, unafraid of the lessons that come with it.